What's going on, Wounded Warrior Project? I'm your physical health and wellness coach, Antonio, and today we're going to be going over one of the best movements in order to really engage your core and activate your glutes and build nice, strong musculature to support your spine, okay? So what movement is that? Well, I'm sure you already know, and you already love this movement as much as I do. That's right, it's the plank. So for the plank, I have my mat laid out here. The mat not only provides a nice soft surface, but also it gives me some points to know where I'm placing my hands and my feet in order to be in the best position possible. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna start with the standard plank, okay? So for our plank, we wanna come down to the ground. We'll have our elbows directly underneath our shoulders. We want to then tuck our toes. So as I'm now in this position down on the ground, my elbows are directly underneath my shoulders. My hands are flat on the ground. My toes are tucked. From this position, I'm going to extend my legs to lift my knees. Now here comes the harder part. This is where we're going to draw our belly button towards our spine, squeeze our glutes, and lift our body up off the floor. What we're looking for here is a nice straight line from your ears to your shoulders, to your hips, to your knees, to your ankles. Drawing your belly button towards your spine. Remember to breathe. While you're doing a plank, you want to hold a plank for whatever period of time is most challenging for you. Again, while engaging your core, again, drawing your belly button towards your spine, and even squeezing your glutes. Remember to drive through those elbows, push through that space in between your shoulder blades, and breathe. You can do this for 30 seconds, you can do this for a minute, you can do this for 3 minutes. It all depends on where you're at. You can do this for 15 seconds if that's all you got. So now, let's go to some modifications, okay? Understandably that doing a plank is not easy for everyone. So the first thing we can do is just, again, maintaining the same position, elbows underneath the shoulders, toes are tucked. I'm gonna draw my belly button towards my spine, but this time without extending my legs, keeping my knees on the ground, I'm gonna lift off the ground, still maintaining that nice straight line from my ears to my shoulders to my hips and my knees. And again, you're still drawing up, we're still engaging our core. You can still squeeze your glutes in this position here. Remember to breathe and hold it for whatever duration of time fits you and where you're at. The other thing too is we don't want to drop our head down. We don't want to raise our chin up. We want to keep our nose pointed down towards our hands. Good. Our next modification. So this one here, we're going to come up to our hands. So just like my elbows were underneath my shoulders, now my hands are going to be directly underneath my shoulders. In this position, I'm going to now extend my legs back, tucking my toes, keeping a nice straight spine, draw my belly button towards my spine, push your hands through the ground, fill that space between your shoulder blades. Don't drop your head, don't lift your chin up, nose should be pointing down towards the ground in front of you, still drawing your belly button towards your spine, engage your core, squeeze your glutes. Remember to breathe. Often people forget to breathe while they're holding a plank. Good. We can also take that position and we can mesh the last two together, and we can be on our knees with our hands down on the ground holding a plank. Not only does this build good core strength, but it also helps build good upper body strength in your chest, your shoulders, your triceps, your lats. Do what's right for you, but challenge yourself. You might be uncomfortable. As long as there's no pain, continue. See how long you can hold it for. Continue to work at that time, and then go for a few seconds longer next time. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take that movement and we're going to go into a side plank. A side plank is great for building, again, core strength, but now we're engaging more of our obliques, those muscles on the side. We're working our IT bands too. So just like our standard plank, we're going to start down on the ground with our elbow underneath our shoulder, hand flat on the ground. So next comes the positioning of our legs. So you can start with your legs stacked. So we'll start here. So elbow underneath my shoulders, legs are straight out. Now I'm going to raise my hips up off the ground. And you want to think as if you have a string pulling your hip up to the sky. And we raise our arm up to maintain good alignment, looking up towards my fingertips. And again, hold this for as long as you can, but make sure you are taking count of your time so you can get better and better at this. Now, if you're off balance doing that, what you can do is actually stagger your feet. So my feet are not one on top of the other. They are apart. Both feet are going to be touching the ground here. Same thing. We're going to lift up. Feet are staggered. Raising my arm up, looking towards my fingertips. And again, remember to breathe. Now, we've done this on our elbows. We can then bring it up to our hand. You can do this with your feet stacked, or you can do this with your feet staggered. I'll start with my feet stacked, and then I'll go into a staggered position just so you can see both. So here, I want to make sure that my hand is underneath my shoulder. I'm going to raise my hips up off the ground, make sure I have good alignment. Again, think about that string pulling my hips up towards the ceiling. And I'm going to hold that position for however long I'm going for. Remember to breathe. Take your time. Look up towards your fingertips. By looking up towards your hand, that keeps your hand from falling down, keeping it stacked above your body. The other position, as I mentioned, we then can go to a staggered stance with our feet. So my feet are now apart. They are not stacked one on top of the other. My hand is still going to be right underneath my shoulder. I'm going to press myself up off the ground. Make sure I've got that string pulling my hip up towards the sky, looking up at my fingertips. And again, remember to breathe. Good. In many cases, some of these positions may be difficult for you. Start with the simpler positions first and work yourself up from there. You can even use something like a table to hold your plank. So I'll demonstrate. We have this elevated position. There's not as much force pulling me down. I'll place my hands on it just like I did on the floor, hands underneath my shoulders, bringing my feet out. Make sure I have a nice straight line from my ears to my shoulders, to my hips, knees, and ankles. And certainly if you wanted to, you could bring your elbows down and hold that position too. If you're going to use some sort of elevated surface, make sure that your surface is stable. Make sure it doesn't roll, doesn't have wheels on it. Make sure it's soft enough for you and what you can handle. Most importantly, as mentioned with the previous movements, take your time. But speaking of time, you want to measure how much time you're holding these positions for so you can get better and better one day after the next. My name again is Antonio. I'm your physical health and wellness coach. Always here to honor and empower you.